Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Drama. My name's Norma, your host of What Up, and we are back for episodes 13 through 15. Y'all got me hyped with them 6 little likes. Let's jump right into episode 13. Taeyoon picks Jobu. If you don't remember, in the last episode, we left off on them being able to go on outings and Hiroya and Jobu both being like, we want to go with Taeyoon by ourselves. So Taeyoon picks Jobu and they go out by themselves, and then Hiroya, Bomi, and Tomoaki go feed cows. They seem to enjoy it, so who am I to judge? Jobu keeps acting like he's like on a date with his celebrity crush. Like he just keeps acting flabbergasted and like, oh, like I didn't think you would give me another chance, which like fine, totally valid because of how Taeyoon acted on that first coffee truck shift. However, a quick mention and then rolling into like getting to know each other questions, etc., like, you know, would be the better direction to go in. But Jobu just ends up keeping it very surface level and very like, I'm having fun with you. Like, I'm so happy to be spending time with you. And it's like, okay, more. Taeyoon mentions that seeing how kind Jobu's mom is made him think that Jobu would also be that kind. Like, he was raised to be that kind. Taeyoon has Jobu sit in front of him in the sauna. Jobu gets up to put like another rock in it or something. And then when he goes to sit back down, Taeyoon like guides him to like sit in front of him. And it's a cute little moment. I don't know that I want to be that close to someone as I'm like actively sweating, but it's cute, it's fine. They have like a really nice day, and then when they go to bed, Taeyoon does a little like good night, and Jobu's like, oh, I can't see you. He's like, I know, that's why I said good night. That's why like my hand is here basically. And so they basically both scoot to like the edges of their bed to get closer to each other, and then Jobu slides on into Taeyoon's bed, and then they're making out. You hear the kissing and the enjoyment of the kissing and clearly other things. And then we have the next morning where Jobu is like saying how Taeyoon initiated the kiss, which is nice. It's nice that we've got Taeyoon initiating things, and how like they didn't go all the way, but like they have fun, you know. Okay, I have to say this because I have been trying to be happy for these two. I've been trying to just remain positive, but I'm not gonna lie to you, something is off for me, and it's something with Taeyoon. Like, something is just off, because it's just like he did not seem interested in Jobu at all, and so it's just a little weird to me, and I'm like, I don't know. Also, I need to watch season 1 again because I cannot remember like his energy or aura, and I feel like if I could watch it again and get his vibe, that maybe I could figure out what it is about him that's making me be like questionable, or like why I feel that way. We're back at the house. It's a time for another shift, and Hiroya picks Jobu. And here Hiroya is again with the weirdness where it was like the van ride where he sat next to Bomi so that like Huwei couldn't, and everyone was like, why did you do that? Like, just weird behavior. Like, just sit next to the person you like, or take the person you like so you could actually talk to them. But I guess he was like taking it as an opportunity to let Jobu know that he was still interested. But I feel like then Hiroya ends up like missing his spot to slide in, you know, like, because he could have been spending that time with Taeyoon, and so then it's like by the time he tries to, it's already like, oh well, I already like this other person, and I don't know. Jobu and Taeyoon play a game called Othello. It looks interesting. I kind of want to see what it is, but Jobu's like all over him, like grabbing him and like being cute, and then Taeyoon has to make a bet of like the winner grants the other wish or whatever. Jobu wins, and his wish is to cook Taeyoon a meal and for them to eat it together, just the two of them. Jobu, literally the host, everyone was like, even Taeyoon was like, that's it? That's the wish? Like, it's a cute wish, but it's like, you know, we were looking for something a little more fun. Ryu is back. They're all asking for a souvenir. He doesn't have souvenirs with him. And then Huwei is also back, but he brings souvenirs, and he mentions like, oh, I thought of Ryu with these souvenirs, and it's durian. I don't know what that is. Something that everyone thought was nasty except for Huwei, and I think Jobu or whoever was sitting next to him enjoying eating it too. Bomi is hurt by this because he's like, why don't you bring back a souvenir for me, or like something, like if you like someone, you're thinking of them. So he kind of felt like, why is he thinking about Ryu? and not me. Once the group conversation dies down, Bomi like hops up and goes and sits next to Huwei, and he's like showing him the pictures feeding the cows, and he's like, oh, I wanted to do that, and he's like, yeah, I wanted to do it with you too. And then Huwei is like, I missed you, and he's like, what? He's like, nothing, and he's like, oh, I missed you, da da da. Very, very cutesy, very cutesy. They're very cute. Like, that's it. That's all I can say about that. Ryu is up to pick for the coffee truck, and he picks Taeyun, and then they go, and it's basically Taeyun kind of talking to him about how much the green room helped him in season 1 with like coming out, just making him feel like he still had a family, like regardless of how it went with his family, he had created this family in the green room, and that made things feel easier or like lighter for him. Just kind of relating to Ryu in that way. I also feel like it's interesting that like, and I think it was the case even in season 1, but this season especially, it feels like a good chunk of the guys are almost using this as they're coming out. Like, I've told some people, but for anyone who doesn't know, here we are. For some of them, it was like forcing them to like come out to their parents and things like that. This episode ends with Jobu cooking for Taeyun and doing the whole food date. And he ends up telling Taeyun that he likes him. And Taeyun basically says what I was saying, which was like, he felt like they did not talk at the level he would have liked on their like solo dates and stuff. So like, he doesn't think that they're quite there yet, like at a space to like each other. Moving into episode 14, we start off with Taeyun and Hiroya showing them the sweaters they made for them. It's got like flowers on the back, and it's like a flower for each of the 10 members of the house. That includes the people who left. And then like a little bud on the front for like their growth or something like that. The sweaters are cute. They all seem really excited about it. And so now we are at our last coffee truck shift. They all decide to go together. And then after that shift, they're going on a 2-day trip to Sapporo. We get Bomi talking to Ryu and Hiroya, and I think there might have been one other person, but I know it was those two for sure. Talking to them, being like, oh, do you guys think Huwei likes me? Like, do you get that impression? And they're like, what? Like, you haven't solidified that? And he's like, I mean, he said he likes me, but like, I can't tell sometimes, because like this morning, he didn't even say good morning, and like the whole thing with the souvenir with Ryu, like, he's just feeling like he can't tell. Like, he's not sure anymore. And they're both kind of basically like, no, I don't think it's that he doesn't like you. I think that's just his personality. And then I love Ryu because he's like, yeah, like, he's basically like, he's an aloof guy. And he's like, and so, you know, that's what you signed up for, liking a guy like that. Like, he's essentially kind of like, that's who he is. Take it or leave it. Like, it doesn't mean he doesn't like you. It's just that that's who he is. He doesn't express like it the way that you do. And you got to figure out if you're cool with that. Which I can't count how many times I've said that. That like, the only thing you can do is like see who's someone for who they are and say, can I live with that? On the way to Sapporo, we have different conversations happening. Jobu and Taeyun are talking about a conversation that I think Jobu had with William at some point, just saying how he had a partner who had this big dream that would have like taken him to a different country or something, and that when it happened, he was like, oh, I won't go, you don't want me to go, right? And that was a big turnoff because he felt like he should want to go, and what it should be is saying like, you're coming with me, right? Or like, you have to come with me type of thing. And so they talk a little bit about that and how they both relate to that it would be like, no, you would go with them, like, you obviously want them to have that drive to go for that dream. And then we have Bomi kind of poking fun at Huwei and saying how like, oh, this guy doesn't know romance or like relationships. And then Ryu kind of catching on and helping out and being like, yeah, because he's XYZ or whatever. And then they're both kind of like, oh, because he's a nice guy. And Huwei's like, I don't know that I'm a nice guy. And I think he might be a little tired of everyone saying he's a nice guy. They arrive to where they're staying, and Jobu pulls the table out and like pushes him and Taeyun's beds together, which is very cute. Vibes. And then, but Jobu has some ear pain, so he's going to like the clinic to get that checked out. And Hiroya takes that as an opportunity. Well, he waits for Jobu to come back. And then he's like, I wanted to take Taeyun somewhere. And they go out, and he's just kind of like, it was similar to what he did with Huwei once he realized that he did not like him, which was like just kind of being like, thank you for like giving me the opportunity to get to know you and not treating me differently because I like you and you don't like me. Like, it seems like that was the vibe he was going for. And he does mention a lot that he was trying to like be more outward with his emotions. So that makes sense. For the following day, Bomi asks to spend the day with Huwei, and he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. It was a like very lackluster response, to say the least. And then Taeyun is like, well, I want to, you know, spend it with Jojo. And he's like, of course, yeah. And so they go. And then actually Tomoaki is hanging out with Hiroya and Ryu, and he mentions like, I didn't like that. Like, I feel like if someone is saying like, oh, I want to hang with you for the day, you should give a more exciting answer than like, oh, that's fine. Or you should just like, your energy should be a little bit higher than that. And I agree completely, honey. I agree completely. However, the issue is we are people who would want that. And so I would know that I couldn't be with a person like Huwei. I could not be with an aloof person, okay? Or a nonchalant person. I need my man to chalant, as we say on the TikTok. I need my man chalant as hell, okay? Don't play about me. Be obsessed with me. All of the above. I can't do it again. Jobu and Taeyoon have a date making sense, and Taeyoon's little scent is actually cute. He's like, I started off with cilantro because I don't like the scent of cilantro, and we had a rough start that we didn't like either, and then slowly I added smells I liked, and that kind of signifies how like our relationship slowly grew into something I do like. I think there they talk about Jobu saying he likes him, and how Jobu saying like, oh, I did afterwards feel like it was too soon, but I did still want to share those feelings with you. And then Taeyoon kind of saying, I think this is where he talks about like realizing that he was starting to like Jobu, even though he felt like it was still surface level. Bomi and Huwei make rings, and Bomi suggests that Huwei wears it on his left finger for stability, and that Bomi will wear it on his right for like strength, connection, or strengthening the relationship, something like that, like for them to like stay for the relationship to keep growing, something along those lines. And then Bomi brings up the durian disappointment to Huwei. Huwei mentions that he was trying to find a souvenir for Bomi, but couldn't find anything he felt was right, so he didn't end up getting him anything. And Bomi was like, oh, you should have told me that. He's like, why would I tell you that if I didn't get you anything? And so I can definitely say I get both sides. I feel like you probably should have said like, hey, I know I got, I wanted to get you something, but I didn't see anything that felt right, or could have told him, but I can see like why you wouldn't. It's like, hey, I was thinking about buying you something, but I didn't. Anyways, Huwei asks Bomi what he sees for them when they leave, and he says things like, wonder if we'll still want to see each other, and wonder what it means to be together. And he's stressing me out because what do you mean wondering if you want to see each other? Do you like this man or not? Do you want to see him or not? Like, what's going on here? Why are you asking him? Because he's already told you where he at with you. Like, it's you. But Bomi answers anyways, and he just kind of talks about viewing it as them making the connection stronger, and that he knows they're not quite family yet, but that he wants to be on that level of importance to Huwei one day, and he believes that they can keep kind of walking this path together and get there. And then Huwei is kind of like, yeah, like, I would say that I see your vision as well. And it's like, wait, please. They all are together again, and they talk a little bit more about coming out. Ryu just talks about wanting it to come from him for his dad, and then Tomoaki talks about how he wrote a letter coming out to his parents. And so as they're talking about coming out, and everyone's talking about like being worried about rough reactions from their parents, or like how difficult it was to accept that they were gay for themselves and things like that, Jobu walks away, and Taeyoon goes to check on him, and he's like, are you okay? And Taeyoon's like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I just needed some air. He's like, oh, okay, you could have told me, I would have like come with you. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And he keeps saying he's fine. Well, that pisses Taeyoon off so much that he separates the bed. I was gonna say unseparates. That he separates the beds, and like, Taeyoon, I need you to grow up a little bit. Like, you didn't need to do all that. I feel like it. You could have given him a minute before doing all that dramatic stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is frustrating. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not a person who likes that either. I hate when it's like, oh, nothing, and you're trying to like drag an emotion out of someone, and then they're like, nothing, and you're like, but I know it's something. However, it was like immediate, or maybe it was just presented as immediate, but it was within the same night, so I would say it's immediate. I don't know that you had to do all that just because of that. Like, he just needed a moment to process. Or you could have said, hey, I can see something's wrong, and I would really rather you tell me. Or I would really rather have that communicated so that I could be there for you, or something along those lines. Not like, oh, let me squish the beds, and because then Joe was like, oh, okay, I have to talk to him. Like, I fucked up, and it just wasn't necessary. It felt a bit much to me. I won't lie. Episode 15 picks up at the same like night. Like, so he's like, when the bed's apart, Joe comes in. He's like, what the heck? And so then they're like laying in the dark, and he's like, oh, can I want to explain, like, can you let me explain? And he's like, yeah, go ahead and explain. And he basically just says that he was really struggling to relate to the conversation, and it made him feel bad that he couldn't. because obviously he had a mother who's so loving and accepting and eccentric and, you know, alternative or whatever. And so like that part was fine. And then also, as we have heard him say throughout the show, he never really struggled with like feelings of shame about his sexuality or like with accepting his sexuality. He kind of was just like, oh, this is who I am, great, cool. Like he just lived in his truth. It came naturally to him. There was no like insecurity in the way that it is for everyone else. And so he was like, I couldn't relate to that. Like I didn't really know what I could say or add to the conversation, and I got uncomfortable, and so I walked away. And he's like, and I'm sorry, I didn't tell you that, whatever. And so they're fine. We get a clip of them the next morning of Taeyoon like hugging Jobu in bed. All right, so we're back from the Sapporo trip, and now it's like the fancy dinner time. They're all in suits and ties, going to dinner. Kazuyuki shows up, and William and Isaiah show up, and William and Isaiah have been living together since they left. And then Kazuyuki went to his old partner, told him he thinks they should keep going with their relationship, and the partner agreed, and he says, yeah, that's what they're doing now. And I'm so happy that it worked out for him. I feel like that he got really fortunate, because it sounds like by what he was saying throughout the show that he very much had a partner who was very understanding of him like needing the space or like time to process. William and Isaiah do mention like still butting heads, like still having those conversations, and the hosts are like, oh, they're still going. The conversations are still going. Everyone parts ways. The people that had already left leave again. And then Bomi and Huwei take like a little walk down memory lane. Like we see them walking through all the places they've been like in that town, I guess you could say. And then they sit down to talk, and Bomi basically kind of goes through like all of his feelings he had for Huwei throughout everything they've been through, and then asks him to be his first boyfriend, because I don't think I ever mentioned that Bomi's never been in a relationship with a man. So yeah, and Huwei said, who is that? Huwei says that he wanted to ask him that, but he does like agree to be his boyfriend. I have on here, I want that damn couch, because I'm obsessed with the I think it's called Mahjong or something like that. I love them, the cushion couches. I want them so bad. Back to the show. Sorry, I digress. Basically everybody's sitting down together. They're all getting ready, right, to part ways. And so Bomi tells them that he asked Huwei to be with him, and Huwei said yes. Him and Huwei reminisce on their time there and what they learned and that they love everyone. And then they leave first, and they leave together, and it's so cute. Tomoaki's next, and he shares the letter he wrote to his parents. He says how he hopes that letter helps other, you know, boys out there trying to come out, and not a dry eye in sight. Even the host, even though there's like an older man of the host that doesn't really get emotional with the emotional stuff, and he was like red, like tears come. Oh, it was so beautiful. It was so cute. But yeah, he reads the letter, and it's a beautiful letter. Everyone's crying, like I said, and then he leaves. And then Ryu is like, all right, I guess I'll be next. And yeah, he just basically talks about how, because in the beginning, he basically said how he was coming here to try to gain trust in men and relationships again. And he leaves basically saying that he does, like that, seeing everyone and how everyone there expressed their love, Kazuyuki, William and Isaiah, and seeing the process everyone else was going through, made him trust again. It made him feel like, oh, there are good men, good people out there. And then also with coming out, he said how he's like now excited about that, like hearing Jobu and Hiroya's story about like accepting families made him excited about it, because it's like he may have just thought really negatively about it. Like he may have thought like, my dad will not accept this, and hearing them I think made him feel like it's possible that he could, right? And so I kind of just have to take the chance. Hiroya leaves next, and he mostly talks about just opening up emotionally and like how he had fun and appreciates the relationships and connections he made there. Taeyoon starts off, and he's talking about how they didn't have that time to really dive in. Like, again, just that they stayed surface level, and there was a lot more he wanted to talk about. He wanted to get Jobu more, Jobu to get to know him more. But then he basically is like, all that to say, like, that I do like you, and I do want to keep getting to know you. And then he's like crying. He's like, I don't know why I'm crying. And then Jobu's just like, thank you. Like, I like you. I want to get to know you too. I want to leave here together. Let's leave here together. And then Taeyoon's like, okay. And so, yeah, they leave hand in hand with lots of little mushy kisses. Although I will say the first kiss, so like they stand up from the couches and they're like hugging. And then he's like, has him by the shoulders, Jobu. And they do this like, Like, literally, that's how he does it, and it just looks so funny. Now, let's get into the reunion video. So, Netflix Japan, on their YouTube channel, dropped a few pieces of content, one of them being this reunion of everybody talking about it. And so let's get into what we heard on it. So they start off by talking about moments on the show. So we have talking about Bomi and Huwei and the ear thing, like them putting like, and then putting the hand. And I would laugh because one of the girl, he was like, oh, it was just really cold that day. So like, that's how we were keeping each other warm. And one of the girl hosts was just like, I wouldn't do it. I don't care. I don't care how cold it is. Wouldn't do it. And it was just funny because it was like basically her trying to be like, y'all just like each other. Like, why you pretend away? Of course, they go to William and Isaiah and poke fun because, like, throughout their whole journey, the hosts were like, "Oh, here goes another serious conversation. Oh, another one. Like, oh, we doing a lot. Like, we do a lot of talking and da da da." And so they're poking that fun here now. And Isaiah's like, "We had silly conversations too. Like, it wasn't all serious." And then William kind of just mentioning like what that journey was about for him and how he just kind of felt like things were moving really fast and he was trying to like gain his footing and figure it out. Taeyoon and Jobu, to no one's surprise, or at least not mine, Taeyoon speaks for them a little bit and kind of says how like they did leave wanting to get to know each other and they did make the effort, but it ultimately didn't work out, but they're still great friends and still there for each other, blah, blah, blah. Jobu chimes in to say like, yeah, they actually even call each other for advice. Like, they are still genuinely close. And I guess whatever, but fishy. They talk about Tomoaki and Hinoya's fight, and basically Tomoaki says that he got really emotional about it and reacted the way he did because of his family having similar prejudices. And so I think he felt like, okay, so my family would say things like this as well. And obviously the things hurt, and so it was that like kind of that combined hurt. Ryu lets us know that, so then we move into like, okay, that was the show, where are you guys now type of thing. And so Ryu lets everyone know that he did let his dad know, and while he wasn't accepting immediately at first, it took some time. He asked him to watch the show, and so he watched the show, and that things are peaceful now. So I'm assuming it probably, his dad seeing how emotional he was about his dad finding out, probably like, you know, obviously it reminds you, like, this is just my child, and they're just scared, and I need to love them and make them feel safe. And he says it's peaceful, and that's beautiful for him. Unfortunately, it sounds like it didn't go that way for Tomoaki. He says he did share that letter, and that it didn't go well, but that he doesn't regret it, and he's very, very, like, happier now than he was before, like, now that his parents know. Hiroya talks about how his house is like the house for broke, I think like college students, like who don't have somewhere to stay, or his friends. Like he says how when they all get together, they all stay at his place. Isaiah and William began living together immediately after the show. As they mentioned, they were in Tokyo for 3 months and then in Barcelona, but then Isaiah had to return to, I think, Australia for work. So they did like 4 months long distance. But then once they were together again, they were living together again. So it seems like they really want to make it work. And honestly, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, they're my shock of the season, because I'm not sure how clear I was about it in my other 2 videos, or in the first video that they were still in the show. But I kind of was like, ugh. You know, like William seemed a little bit red flaggy and a little bit like he might change his mind later. But he showed me up. He proved me wrong and told me to be quiet. Because clearly he wants it to work. Because the fact that they were long distance for 4 months and then they're like living together again, like it's clear that they are trying to make it work. Like that, everything they said on the show was very true and very true to them. And lastly, Bomi and Huwei. So I was a little bit confused by their confirmation. Before this video was posted, I was looking at the comments of the like Netflix Japan one, and there were people kind of helping out and being like, for the English people, like this is what this person said and that person said. And it seemed like while Huwei and Bomi didn't flat out say like, oh, we're dating, I'm taking confirmation in Huwei saying whatever it is, I still want us to like walk it together, or like do it together, or be there going through it together. Something about like doing it together. And so to me, that's confirmation. I think what is happening is that they are both on the younger side and they're like pursuing all these things that they want to do for themselves. And essentially it sounds to me like what it is like they are in a relationship, but they also acknowledge that they both have things they want to be doing right now. So like they're together, but that they don't spend a lot of physical time together because of these things they have to do, but that when they can spend time together, they do. That takes us to the end. That takes us through everyone and what everyone's doing. Oh, Kazuyuki was there. I forgot to mention. Kazuyuki also is going strong with his partner. Like, they got together, and that this helped him realize that even if in another 15 years he's feeling those same emotions, he has this to look back on, or like will remember that, like, you know, you just re-strengthen it. You revive and revive. And so then you'll make it another 30 years and another 30 years. And a very beautiful message, if I could do say so myself. All of these stories, all of these people, very beautiful messages. So many great learning opportunities on this show. That's why I really like it. It's a very calm, just like, you get to know yourself while you're getting to know these people too. That's all I have for season 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it if you did. Comment down below. I'd love to hear what y'all think about like the couples and then like where the singles are at, etc. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.